Good morning, may I have your attention, please? Today's keyword is not a... Well, it could be a noun. It's a name.
It's a name. It's the first time we've ever had a proper name as the word of the day.
I think so.
I think so. I'm quite sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember ever having one before. And the name is Copperthwaite. All right.
And the game is...
And the game, yeah. This guy had great game.
The name is Copperthwaite.
Copperthwaite. This is the name of
the game is Hong Kong Economic Foundation.
Yes, really. This is a guy that built, in a sense, helped to build the modern Hong Kong in many ways. One dimension of the modern Hong Kong. You could argue that Mackle had a big role in playing kind of certain elements of Hong Kong by building out our infrastructure and housing. And
I would say he is the major architect of all the modern days policy.
Yeah.
I mean, subsidized housing.
Subsidized housing,
subsidized
healthcare,
education. The hospital system right now.
Settling the new territories.
Highway infrastructure.
Yeah, all part of that system. Yep. And the MTR was
and even the greening and gardening policy.
Okay, well, let me take it back 10 years to Sir John Copperthwaite. Sir John Copperthwaite was a big... And why are we talking about Sir John Copperthwaite? Tomorrow would have been his 100th birthday, had he survived. This hero of Hong Kong, and there's a group in the United States, the Foundation for Economic Education, that are calling for his birthday to be a day of global celebration. I mean, this guy was huge. When was the last time you heard about a bureaucrat? Somebody around on the other side of the world suggesting a bureaucrat should be globally celebrated.
In the States.
In the States.
On the British colony.
Yes.
On someone in the British colony.
So this guy must have been pretty special. So who was he? 1961, Sir John Copperthwaite arrives in Hong Kong. He is a big, blustery, rude Scot, right? And his favorite word was no.
Okay.
Right?
Mr. No.
Mr. No. So in the 1960s, the British were building out the welfare state in Britain. And I mean, they went socialist crazy. And at the end of that period, we know what happened. They couldn't keep the lights on. The country was racked with strikes. Power stations were shutting down. Formerly the greatest empire in the world was a disaster because of their policies. And they, all during that decade, would say to Sir John Copperthwaite, oh, these great ideas that we have, you should implement them in Hong Kong. Look at all the industry you have there and people importing and exporting. You should put a great big whacking import-export tax. And Sir John Copperthwaite's favorite word was no. And he said, no, I won't do it. Oh, you should collect labor statistics so we can create labor policy. And he said, no, I won't do it. You should introduce an income tax. He kind of floated that idea, and the Chinese business community went nuts. And they were like, where did you get this crazy idea from? And so he said, no. Right? And because of that, Britain and Hong Kong took two very different directions. Alvin Rabushka, Stanford professor, calls it the difference between HK and UK. The happy kingdom and the unhappy kingdom. At the end of Sir John Copperthwaite's period, Britain collapsed. The pound fell. Yep. Because Hong Kong was still using the pound, the government here lost the equivalent of 10 years of their healthcare budget at the time. That was when Hong Kong decided, Britain, we can't trust you with the money. So that led to the creation of the Hong Kong dollar. Because Hong Kong was strong because of Copperthwaite's policies. Now, as a former...
So we were using pounds.
We were using pounds back then, but after Britain collapsed at the end of the 60s, then they said, forget it, Britain. We can't trust you with the money. You don't know what you're doing. So they created the Hong Kong dollar. Now...
Well, and until Maggie...
Until Maggie. And Maggie, it got so bad that then they had to have an extreme solution. Margaret Thatcher, the first woman prime minister, to fix it. Yeah. The other thing about Copperthwaite that you might appreciate...
And interestingly, Margaret Thatcher has a very interesting relationship with Hong Kong.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because she is the one who negotiated with Deng Xiaoping.
Yes, Now, that was on the political side, but I'm sure that the economics and finance side, she loved Copperthwaite.
Oh, yeah.
John Copperthwaite also created the policy of rewarding bureaucrats for not spending their budgets. And to this day, our bureaucrats are the masters of what I call now sandbagging, of making sure they don't spend their budgets and bringing in a surplus. And that is so unique in the world. There's very, very, very few places that are able to do that. But that started with Copperthwaite. And you probably felt some of that when you were working in government.
Yes, because the Treasury Bureau or the Treasury branch right now is always the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
So
he created that
it's,
ethos.
it's a very strong culture, internal.
Yeah.
And even bureaucrats, when they are big spender in other bureaus, once they join the treasury branch, they keep the money.
They learn how to. And that ethos came in under Sir John Copperthwaite. So in that sense, the low taxes, no import-export, free port, responsible spending government, that was all Copperthwaite. And that helped set Hong Kong apart from the rest of the world that was going on a very different path during that time that was really disastrous. But Hong Kong went like this, and then this, and then this, until 1997.
And tomorrow is his 100th birthday.
And tomorrow is his 100th birthday, so wherever you are, Sir John Copperthwaite, happy birthday. Big shout out to you and respect for your memory. Thank you.
See you next
Sir John
week.
Copperthwaite. See you next week.
All right.